Moneyball is tipping off on Tuesday. What do we absolutely need to see out of this little exhibition game run? And also, just some news out of Ann Arbor that has put a little bit of a pep in our Monday step. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Matt Sheehan, and today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Odoo. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. On today's episode, we are joined by the one, the only Brad LaPlante of WLNS. We're going to get more into the weeds of the board, the mess. Is there a way out? Why are things even the way they are in this state? But guys, first and foremost, we're going to go to the hardwood, but not necessarily Breslin Center. No, we're going to talk about what's going to be going on at Holt High School with the Moneyball Pro-Am, and then take a trip down the road and discuss, yes, Dusty May is leaving for Dallas. Oh, that's a bummer. All right, but first things first, we're going to talk about stuff in-house, right, guys? Because on Tuesday and for the next Tuesdays and Thursdays with a few days off here or there for the next few months, we've got the Moneyball Pro-Am where, yes, legends are made. Idiots like myself overreact to everything they see on social media, and I'm not going to change the way I am. I will be ratcheting it up to a full 10 out of 10 whenever I see, like, Ethan Taylor drain a three-pointer, you know? Oh, Anton Bonke had a 5 3-point game. Oh, my God, the Final Four is our floor for next year. I won't change, and I will not apologize for it, though. But, guys, if you're not familiar with Moneyball, it's a series of exhibition games, right? Very, very little defense in these games, but each of these teams have 2 Michigan State Spartans on them, so we're just going to go through the teams really quick and name the 2 Spartans on each team. Like BLT's wearable art, they will have Caleb Glenn and recent walk-on Matthew Watkins. Team Fago will have new face Jasiah Jervis and Cam Ward. Motor Cars will have Carlos Medlock Jr. and Anton Bonke, 2 fresh faces. TriStar will have Coen Carr, Jesse McCulloch. SPS will have Jordan Scott paired up with Julius Avent. And then LAFCU will have the one, the only Jeremy Fears paired up with Ethan Taylor. So there is no Kerr Tang. He is not going to be playing in this circuit this upcoming summer. But guys, here's what I need to see, here's what I want to see, and here's just what I'm excited to see. The inevitable that will always put a smile on my face. But first things first, what we need to see, I've got my eyes on Jasiah Jervis. And this kind of a format where it is just a pretty up and down style of play, very NBA All-Star Game-esque, like this is going to suit Jasiah Jervis perfectly, a guy that was put on this earth to score the basketball at all 3 levels. So I'm looking to have him pop up 3 different times this summer of, oh my God, he went off for another 40-point game like 3 times, right? But look, I know that the defense is kind of lackluster, to put it lightly, but I do want to see physically, how does he look in comparison to his other Michigan State teammates? Some other guys, too, that play at the Division II level, for example. How pure does this jumper look? How is he looking creating his shots on his own? I know, I'll say it again. I know that defensively this isn't going up against, mid-2000s Wisconsin by any means. Hey, any glimmer of game that we can see is only going to make us feel even better about this McDonald's All-American going into next year. And it's also same to be said with Carlos Medlock in the same vein. My microscope will be on Medlock because, physically, how does he look? He is going to be the guy spelling Jeremy Fears throughout the entire season coming up. And I've said as much. I've loved him ever since he's committed to Michigan State, that offensively, he might be the most college-ready point guard since I don't even know when. I mean, we've had some great point guards here get off to a really good start their freshman year, but just 3-level scoring, full package, I think he could be as ready as anyone has ever been in the green and white. The only thing I'm really cautious about is, he is a touch undersized, but is he talented enough to have that not even matter? We can start getting answers here in the walls of Holt High School from here until July. I do love this event. Also, it's not going to hurt to see how many lobs he can get up to Anton Bonke, Let's get this chemistry going. Let's get it going early. I want to see the strides that Jesse McCulloch is making. Again, it's not the end-all, be-all, but hey, you can show us a little bit of a post package. Just start splashing a few more of those threes. Yeah, that's eye candy that people like me love, guys. So what do I want to see, though? What's going to be a little bonus? I point to Julius Avent, kind of like the forgotten about guy in this class. Whenever I talk about him, I discuss him in the kind of in the realm of, yeah, he'll be good like his sophomore, junior, senior year, but could he offer you something right now? Could he actually be one of these try-hard guys on defense that shows you with his range, his length, that, okay, yeah, like he can be a plus college defender. Jordan Scott, his three-point shot, which was pretty solid last year, 37% from three. I want to see if he's changed his stroke at all. There were times it looked like he was pushing it. And anyone that's played basketball with me, I know this is rich because, boy, do I have that problem, but I'm not a Division I player. Can we get that stroke looking a little bit more refined, a little more consistent? We could start getting answers right here. Ethan Taylor, you had a weird year in high school where you came off the bench, but you were good enough to make Team USA. You're still this highly rated 4-star kid. Just want to see what we got here. And then, hey, what am I excited to see? Coen Carr dunks. Like I am the toddler looking at the jingly keys whenever it comes to Coen Carr dunks. It will never get old for me. I will always be attracted to it. So yeah, give me the Coen Carr dunks here. And I just cannot wait for the first like multi 3-point game out of Anton, Bonke, or Ethan Taylor, Jesse McCulloch. Oh, guys, I cannot wait to overreact my brains off to some Moneyball here. Now, let's move on to the big piece of news, not just in the state of Michigan, but really in the sport of basketball here, because Dusty May, he's out. He's gone. And the pep that it put in my step on this beautiful Monday, it's almost embarrassing, actually. I was kind of going through a slog here until that Adam Schefter tweet, which beautiful that it had to come from him too, came across my timeline that he's out. Oh man, don't get it twisted. Like I hate that he won the title here. No, duh. Right? Like if I could, I'm not saying that, oh, this is all worked out great. No, it would have been awesome if they got popped somewhere along the way last year. However, this is a pretty good timeline that we're living right now. He's in. He's out. We're going to move on with life. In the month of June, not an ideal time to hire a basketball coach, too. And I will just say this. There's just one thing that I do have to like about Dusty May. And I did love how hateable he was, right? Like, he was kind of perfect. He really embodied that whole program, that whole athletic department, almost to a T, right? And it just comes down to the line and the borderline delusion that everyone had when he said these things, like, you know, the whole free throw incident last year, right? Saying that, oh, well, we always have two guys stand back there on free throws, when if anyone has YouTube, you can look up any replays of any of their games, and no, like, that's actually nothing they've done the entire season. But naturally, the fan base of theirs laps it up like any slop put in that trough. Or when Yaxel had that video came out saying a bunch of things I can't say on this show because, well, we're a family program. And then oddly enough saying, oh, well, that's weird because Yaxel never swears. Like, what are we talking about? Or, and I was saying that, oh yeah, of course I was a Michigan fan my whole life, even though he grew up being Bobby Knight's ball boy. It's just what to a T embodies just the ultimate reality that they lived in. So I will miss it. I did not like John Beilein back in the day because he was too respectable, too likable of a guy, and that didn't sit right with me. I want the Jawans. I want the Dusty Mays. I want to look at whoever's manning that bench and hating their guts right there. So whoever comes in next, I hope you're arrogant. I hope you're just a little off in the brain because it makes it all the more fun. So look, what happens next for Michigan? They have a 15-day portal window that'll open up 5 days after the announcement. So will anyone leave? Look, honestly, I doubt it. I think everyone's going to be compensated enough to stay, but it does raise an eyebrow. Like, who's going to be coming here? Who's going to be going? So look, it sucked to see them cut down the nets, but like, let's be honest. And I'm sure this is going to come off as cope, but like, I genuinely mean this. Like, doesn't that championship seem just a little like off now? Like, doesn't that feel like it was just like a rental championship that after, you know, they cut down the nets, the credits start to roll instead of when Izzo won his? Actually, that was just the birth of, you know, launching a program to be sustainable for the next few decades. I mean, that we're talking about a starting five that was entirely built through the portal. And like, hey, that's all fun and well, right? 3 of them turned out to be one and done. The coach splits immediately afterwards. look, it's not like we're going to go into Michigan fans' houses and take their T-shirts away or the banner's going to be cut down. No, it stays there forever. But between that and them winning the title, not even lasting until noon on ESPN.com's front page, like that, doesn't this seem like it's remarkably forgotten about? Well, yeah, would I rather it not happen? Of course. But it's really, it wasn't like, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be, right? It never is as bad as you think it's going to be, and it's even sweeter with the coach dipping out immediately afterwards in June. You hate to see it, love to see it. All right, guys, we'll be joined by the one, the only Brad LaPlante. But first, need to talk everyone's ears off about Indeed, because workplace chaos can show up fast. And that's where Indeed Sponsored Jobs comes in. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach out to candidates who actually fit what you're looking for. We're talking based on skills, experience, location, whatever it is, guys. Indeed Sponsored Jobs is going to put this candidate on a platter for you, because finding the right person can make all the difference. Whether it's building the business, building a winning team, like, hey, over here, it's not just over in Ann Arbor they got to hire a coach now. We also got to hire, well, how about a president, athletic director? We got to find someone that absolutely fits here, checks all of the boxes. It's not about just loudest resume or biggest splash that they made at their previous spot. It's all about fitting what fits your business best, guys. So, hey, spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes. Cut through the chaos with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And best of all, listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed right here on this podcast, guys. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And a quick shout out to the everyday listeners of Locked On Spartans, guys. If you want more Spartans in your life but completely ad-free, join the Everydayer Club. And right now is a great time to join because, we have a 7-day free trial. So, guys, jump on the Everydayer Club. The link to join is in the episode description for those ad-free episodes. I'm very fired up about this one because, we have sports people on all the time. I'm a very sports-brained person myself, but it's time to get someone smart in the room here. Like Brad LaPlante of WLNS, he hosts a great show called The Moment on WLNS Plus, where, he's had some very relevant interviews quite recently, one with Rima Vassar. We're going to get into that here in a hot second, but Brad, look, you're much more well-rounded than I am. You are just a actual right down the middle just guy, come on.
Sure.
So when I describe the Board of Trustees, I lash out. I might be irrational. I think of what they do to my basketball team, my football team, my athletic department, and I'm just seeing all the nonsense, and I'm comparing them to a middle school lunch table. Now, when you look at the Board of Trustees at Michigan State, accurate description? What do you see when you see the gong show here? That is the Board of Trustees at MSU.
Yeah, I mean, it's your description, I think, is not I'm not saying it's wrong.
Okay.
I think a lot of people feel that way. I think that it has gotten very tense, and I don't know that I've only covered Michigan State's board, I've seen what's happened at Michigan. I've seen some of the stuff that's happened at Wayne State. But in covering the story, I've actually found out that other states also have so many issues, like Florida. The guy that I talked to for the story I wrote that you read, that guy said that his alma mater is the University of Florida. They can't keep a president because of the board. So it's not unusual for stuff like this to happen. I don't know if university boards just suck in general, but it does seem, I think if you're a Michigan State fan, you can kind of see that or think that this is just a unique issue to Michigan State.
So you had that interview with Rima Vassar, who, of course, has been in the headlines, it seems like, for more bad reasons than good, namely the $25 million lawsuit against the university that you're a chairman of the board of. But anyway, look, I want to be fair here. I watched the interview. It wasn't horrendous. I really didn't change my opinion all too much. But tell me this, do you think she's a little misunderstood? Did she bring up a point in the interview that maybe folks like myself should maybe focus in on a little more? Or just tell us about the biggest takeaway from that sit down with Rima.
Yeah, I mean, so I interviewed her on a Monday,
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago now at this point, but it was, I mean, it was funny because so I interview her on the Monday, and then Wednesday is when the Detroit News like gets access to the lawsuit. So I had
Sure.
no idea. She didn't
Yeah.
mention it, obviously, of course, and and you have to remember too that the lawsuit was introduced back on May 17th when they had this tumultuous, hastily called board
Yeah.
meeting, right? So she sent that letter to them, and then it was finally surfaced like a month later. But yeah, we spoke at Cass Tech High School. We wanted to do it kind of at an educational facility because she's an educator.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was. It was a good conversation. I think it informs people about kind of where she's coming from, what she thinks. And I mean, she does think that Michigan State has gotten away from diversity programs that she argues that they should be involved in. But I mean, there is also a point to make that, like, maybe she shouldn't be going about this in the same way. Like, I think that the other side of this, where Brianna Scott and you have all those other trustees, I think that they look at this and they see, like, why are you making us look bad? Like, is that bad for the university? So, yeah, I don't know that, like, I'm not saying that Rima Vassar's necessarily wrong. I do think that the way that she goes about this, though, is very unique and not necessary. Some people might say that it's not, like, how a trustee should handle doing this.
Sure. She also did have that quote during the sit down too. Quote, "I'm not there to serve the administration. I'm there to serve the people within the university, which happen to be Michiganders." That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, sure. Like, that is what you were elected to do. How's she doing it though? Like, that's talking the talk. I'm not seeing a lot of walk the walk here. Is there something that I'm missing here with all this? Because great quote, I just don't see a lot of substance behind it, especially when we're slapping on a $25 million lawsuit. I'm still so hung up on that. So, but anyway,
yeah,
am I missing something?
No. I mean, you're absolutely right. The lawsuit is, I don't know how she defends it. I mean, I've tried to reach out after the lawsuit, and haven't gotten a text back actually since our interview.
I'll try. Okay, perfect. Great.
And I mean, with all the board stuff too, her voicemail box is full, which is unsurprising when
Sure.
stuff like this happens, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's happened before. But yeah, I mean, she is like, I'm sorry. Can you go back to what your question was? I guess
like, how is she defending?
Yeah.
Like, what's her argument? I'm doing something very difficult. I'm asking you to make the argument on her behalf.
No, that's
like,
okay.
Really?
I was going somewhere with this, and that
believe me, that's all my mind has done the last 2 weeks. So yeah, you're not alone here.
So the interesting thing, right, is that I spoke with Dimitri Morgan, who he is a governance scholar at the University of Michigan. Okay. Right. And this is this big explainer piece, kind of explaining, like, because everybody wants to take sides on this, right? And so I was trying to, like, my goal with this piece was to be like, this is follow-up coverage from my interview with Vassar. I've already spoken to her, and so I want to speak to somebody who actually knows and specializes in this field, right? So he's, and he commented on the 2022 situation with Michigan State, right, back when, before even the Vassar stuff had first blown up, but when Michigan State was looking for a new president and all this. And so when I spoke with him, he actually said that Vassar might not be wrong here, but the key to this is that, like, if you think about any elected official, right, and a trustee is very similar to an elected official, right, it's not like, like, should they be writing these op-eds and, like, lambasting the institution and, like, doing all this stuff, right? That, like, that's the question.
Yeah.
Compared to like if like Alyssa Slotkin, right? She's a Michigan Democratic senator, right? Like if she has, an issue or the Trump administration does something she doesn't agree with, what she's probably doing is she might hold a press conference on something, but she's also going, on the floor of the Senate, like, ostracizing like RFK Jr. or like, all the people she disagrees with, she's like, holding them to account. And that's kind of like what a trustee does to a degree, right? Where like if Trustee Vassar really wants to like, move Michigan State's position on DEI, then like why isn't she in committee making that progress or doing this in with and maybe her thing is like she's tried that and she hasn't gotten very far, and so maybe that's her answer. I don't know. But that is kind of where we're at, is like, is she supposed to be making the case for MSU, or is she supposed to be asking them why? It's kind of similar to how, like, as a journalist, like, it's not my job to argue someone's position, right? Like, I'm questioning you, about your position.
More to come, guys, but first a word from our friends over at Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never even designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them even talk to each other. That is where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales, accounting, inventory, marketing, you name it, guys, everything works in one place. Helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. Who has time for that? Well, Odoo does. That's right, guys. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working towards the same goal. And that's true in sports just like it is in business. Just look at our Michigan State basketball program year after year. Everyone's on the same page. There's different issues. There's different departments, but they all come together to put a quality product on the court every single winter, guys. Great organizations win because operations, yes, they do matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. One more time, guys, odoo.com/lockedon. So there was a tweet right before the weekend that circulated from our guy, Odell Brenham Jr., MSU chief of propaganda. He's great. And it brought up a great point that half the board members aren't graduates of Michigan State. And maybe this is just such simpleton thinking, but how's that possible? Like, someone should at least have emotional stake in the chair they're sitting on. Or am I just way off here? Like, is this common? Should this be common to not have any biases towards the university that you're on the chair or that you're on the board of? What's just your opinion? I know that you're the journalist. You don't opine on much. Give me your opinion on this one, though.
I mean, I would almost argue that in some way it can be beneficial for a trustee or a board member to not have any, personal like alumni stake in the university, right? Like, Vassar, to her credit, to be fair, I can't remember specific. I know her daughter for sure went to MSU, and I think that her husband might have ties to the university as well. But I know for sure that her daughter did go to the university, right? And that was one of the reasons that back in 2020 when she was running for trustee, that's one of the reasons she ran. She ran because she said that, her daughter was having these issues with race, right? And she, she didn't feel safe on campus.
Gotcha.
And these are real issues, right? That she's trying to bring awareness to, and so that's kind of where she's coming from. Going back to your point about like, should a trustee be a graduate of the university? Like, I don't know. I mean, the universities serve Michigan as a whole, right? As a public institution. Yeah. So there is some argument to say, like, these like Vassar did go to Wayne State, so she, and I don't know, they have more impacts than what it's worth. Like, should you could make, I don't know what the comparison would be for a legislator, but if, you could probably say the same thing about a legislator. Like, should they all be lawyers, or should they, I don't know, like most of them are, but there are a lot of people who are arguing right now, that like, maybe we should get some other opinions in there. Some people who, diversity of thought, diversity of opinion.
Was there not a moment not too long ago where we can finally not be one of 4 states that elect these people, where these would be government appointed positions, but the House of Representatives struck that down? Did I read all those articles correctly here? My comprehension when it came to government reading in high school wasn't all the way there. So I just want to fact check this. Like we had our moment to get out and have these be appointed positions, but that's not happening, right?
So yeah, I mean it's a weird situation. Michigan is currently the only state that elects them statewide. That's wild. 4 that elect them. Okay, so there are 4 that elect them. The other 3 it's like Nevada.
Okay.
And then there's 2 others. I don't want to get them wrong, but I know
That's
Nevada's
fine.
one. But anyway, so they elect them on a district basis. So they're much more like, I don't know how it works, but each district has, whereas Michigan State, it's like there's 8 trustees and they're all at-large positions. So, that's how that works. As far as like where to go forward, like, when I was speaking to Dimitri Morgan, the U of M scholar, he said that appointed boards aren't that different from elected boards. And that's where he brought up the examples of Ohio and Florida, right? Ohio's getting heat right now, Ohio State specifically, for their sex abuse scandal, right? They had like a huge sex abuse scandal and then made a huge payout to like all of the victims. And then, there's other issues with the board going on right now. I know that that's just one of them. But then there's also the University of Florida, which last week, like, I'm not even joking, like right when I published this article with Dimitri Morgan, like Florida that day, like said that they could not elect a new interim president because the board was in the middle of a dispute. So, like, that's awesome. The type of, like, these are both appointed boards. So they are not, like, and then you have Virginia and, like, Ohio and Florida both have Republican governors, right? But then you have Virginia, which just elected their Democratic governor, Abigail Spanberger, and she has overhauled on her first day when she took office earlier this year. She overhauled the boards completely, and so you would argue that there is some risk for like some sort of like partisan influence. And then if you have appointed boards, you do have the risk of like, and this is exactly what happened in Virginia, where you have a new governor come in, she's a different party, and so she wants to overhaul the whole board to like fit her partisan thinking. And so that's kind of the risk you run into. Like, if Whitmer say that she appointed the boards 8 years ago, like she might appoint whoever the heck she wants, but then if a Republican takes over in next year, then like they could just do it all, get rid of all of the board members as well. Is that good for the university? Something that I do want to mention as well, that I haven't really got into, is the terms. People are so frustrated, I think, with the 8-year terms of the board members. Yeah. And the reason that the board members' terms are long is because they are thinking about the best interest of the university. And so if you do have a board that is in sync, right, that is doing what it's supposed to, like, or even if you disagree with it, it's at least stable. Like, an 8-year term or a longer term is actually beneficial because you want the board to, you don't want the sort of like whiplash that you might get at a board if there's high turnover.
I was one of those people that could not care any less about term limits until very recently, and I saw, does that say 2033 for someone? So like Mike Balo
just got elected, and he will be in office until 2033, or unless he's removed for some reason.
Who knows if the world's going to be around in 2033? My God, that's like a fake year when you read it. But Brad, I can't think. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say one more thing, and because people do get mad about the term limits, or about the terms in general. But something to keep in mind, because people I think are mad at like Whitmer or like any governor for not removing the
also
trustees. This is a very well. The thing I think people forget though is that like to some degree sets a dangerous precedent
Mm-hmm.
that other people are worried about, right? Like that's the other side to this is like if you remove somebody, a trustee, like governors try at their best to not remove them because then they can be seen as this person who's only coming in here to remove people and doing stuff to whatever their political like whimsy is, you know, and that's like the path. Do we want to go down that? I don't know.
I get it. Like I do, but I don't. I'm like, it's not like you're
complicated-
going up for re-election anyway. Like, let's just start
Yeah.
pulling with an iron fist and just start pulling people out. But I get it.
Right.
I don't want to get it, but like I do.
Yeah.
Right, this is great. I gotta say, like, not common. We're chopping up legislature, term limits, politics on this show, but what better time than to do it right now when it seems like they are the thorn in the MSU side. So, anything you want to leave us with before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your week here?
No, I mean, you know, I wish it were. I wish, honest, it would probably give me if they would just chill a little bit. It would probably give me a little bit more stability because I'm just like every you know every time that they're or emergency board meeting, like you could not. I like hopped out of my seat when I saw that back in May. So
good times. Well, gives us something to talk about. Give us something to write about. Give us something to have on the moment. So for that, Board of Trustees, we thank you. Thanks a lot. But on a real note, guys, hey, thanks a lot for tuning in, for listening, for watching. You guys are all the best. Now we will be back tomorrow with Greg Smith, talk a little bit of football recruiting. But until then, take care of yourselves. Love you all, and go green.